Call the meeting to order, and we are under challenging times, that is for sure. And before we recite the pledge, I want us to remember all doctors, all healthcare officials, healthcare institutions, all federal and state officials, and particularly our city's school system decision makers. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. And now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have an agenda that we have added possible action on study session times and calendar dates. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please? Motion, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Hill. Motion was by Ms. Foley. Any further discussion? If not, please raise your hand if you accept the motion.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there an addition to the agenda?
Yes, the study session times. That will be number 4 under new business.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there an individual address the board on an agenda item or a non-agenda item? If not, I believe we have a great volunteer here tonight, Mr. Greg Rizal. Would you tell us about him, Mr. Hargrove?
Mr. Gressel took a impossible and difficult.
Let's
All right,
make sure we're
come on.
limited in the crowd.
Mr. Craig, you can come
We just
on.
won't get too close to one another.
We'll stay far away.
6 feet, please.
Mr. Gressel took an impossible, very difficult situation and made it into a very positive experience for our students involved in Romeo and Juliet. A late deadline, and did a magnificent job with the kids and the performance, and we appreciate that. You have a servant's heart, and we appreciate your passion for our young learners and the theater arts, and that was a very steep task and did perform very well, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
And gift certificate to meals. I'm glad that Ms. Vaughn put your name on the envelope because one of those was laying there at one point and I thought it was for me. Very upsetting to turn it over. Don't get your name on there so they'll recognize it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was a privilege, and it was a lot of fun and challenging as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Next is the agenda item, which has the 200-day accountability surplus and approval of minutes. Is there any item of the consent agenda that needs to be withdrawn for further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Fogarty. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the consent agenda as presented, please raise your hand. Any opposed? I'm going to try to do this buildings and grounds quick, Mr. Hill, and if I'm too quick, please call me out, and I'll try to slow down and add something that's not there. Weeping Wall, this is a rehash of our maintenance committee meeting. Most recently, we went THS items. There's a wall in the garrison wing below grade. It continually has to be repainted, and there's There's not a mold issue at this time, but it continues to stay damp. We've had OLG come in and take a look at it. We thought we were going to have to do a lot of excavating and pull out all the dirt from around the exterior and start over again, and find out that there's a drain pipe that's in that wall that's somehow has been, part of it has been smashed. And all they're going to have to do is replace that pipe, is what they feel like, and that's going to save us a lot of money and get the job taken care of. There's a doorway in the band room that we're going to put double doors in that will allow equipment to be moved, and that should start fairly soon. It will be done by our own people. We had several questions by several board members and members of the community why, when it rains, is the awning at the gym side has so much water cascading, and we think we've got a solution to that. Putting another gutter in, and it ends up the way the awnings were designed a long time ago was to put that water there, and this new system hopefully will take that away. Tennis courts, we think we've got those placed at East Middle's ground. We still have some soil samples and some specs to draw up, and soon Mr. Ray will have some specs to go out for RFPs. Central office, we're looking for, OLG is going to give us some plans for an awning on the front, and we're waiting for bids to come in, I believe, for in this building for furniture and for flooring.
Mr. Mack, go back to the tennis.
I'm sorry.
Go back to the tennis courts. I know I missed that.
Okay.
Just for clarity.
That's going to be, it's been placed at East Middle, 6 courts. We'll soon be getting soil samples and those kind of items to be sure that it will drain and that and it actually fits, those kind of questions. And we will soon be able to have an RFP for that. Let's see. We got prices on ceiling tile, which were more expensive than probably we wanted, and I would assume that it's soon that we will be talking about that at the next meeting, those prices. And right now, it looks like to me we'll be replacing ceiling tile at East Middle and at Bel Air, and probably having to wait a little bit for the ceiling tile at the high school. And the last part, the Bel Air chimney, to finally get us stopping the leaking in the basement, which we've spent a lot of money trying to get up to grading improved and drainage improved, but there's a huge amount of mortar's been out of that chimney, and there's no way to stop those leaks. The simplest thing is to take it down, and Mr. Ray's found out that we probably have room in the original budget for Bel Air that it would fit in there. We'd probably not have to rebid it or authorize more money to be expended over there. Does that sound correct, Jason? Okay. Any other questions on that? If not, let's proceed to the 2021 budget. Mr. Hargrove.
Mr. Ray, we've been working, but we still are in very preliminary stages as hopefully on the next month we'll start getting both city numbers and state DEP estimates, which kind of give us a framework for where we can go and what we can do. So.
We had a recent finance meeting about, 10 days ago. We probably spent more time in there than we probably ever had at a finance meeting. And Mr. Ray is under budget and is well on his way to getting the problem right now to present a budget that would be meaningful. It's almost impossible because we have no idea what the BEP numbers are going to be, what the sales tax and property taxes levels are going to be. The revenue side is a guess, where he's made great plans on the expenditure side. Any questions on the 2021 budget? All right, board policy adoption, second reading. Mr. Hargrove.
Ms. Sandy?
This is second and final reading of many policies that were presented at last month's meeting.
Okay. Any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion for the second reading of those board policies.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Robinson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further discussion? Motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? THS track resurfacing, Mr. Ray.
As we discussed in study session previously, we had last resurfaced the track at the high school in 2010. It's in need of some attention, and so you all made the decision to direct me to take bids. We received those back within the last week. Procore Construction, which is out of Huntsville, that has done a number of projects for us in the past, was the only bidder that returned with a price. That price was a total cost of $102,900.
What was that, I'm sorry?
$102,900.
Okay.
And we have communicated a number of times regarding our timeline for this summer. They feel like they have no issue in accomplishing that work in that time frame. And we're recommending the approval of
Does this resurface the entire
the
track?
entire track. That's
Okay.
correct.
At some point, there's going to be, at least, it would probably fit in our regular budget, but there's some drainage issues at the end zone and the radius at the school end of the field. It's going to have to be addressed, and it would be crazy to resurface the track and not take care of that drainage, because that end is not wearing well.
That's where the high jump is?
The opposite side.
The other end?
The other end, the school
Okay.
side, the school end.
Okay.
That's right. It's a high jump in.
It is the high jump, yeah, the high jump is down by.
I'm sorry, it's
It
pole
is.
vaults and the long
Yeah.
jumps on the other side,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So what's the time frame for the taking care of that?
For the drainage,
Yeah.
OLG is going to do a topography study for us. They feel like there's some piping on that end that is either collapsed or not adequate to flow. Once that comes back, they'll make a recommendation to see what the solution could be.
So that comes before we do anything with the
Yes,
surfacing.
and
We're hoping.
the surfacing will be done after track season. After
Ms.
graduation.
Johnson's question was, would we do that
Right.
prior to the resurfacing? And that, no, we will do the our plan is to do the resurfacing in the summer. And I'm not sure how quick they'll give us.
With the drainage
their
prior to
recommendations.
it. That was your question, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Because that's what I thought I understood would happen.
Yeah, yeah. Is this Duffy Bowles, is he the representative?
It is.
This company has done, this may be the third resurfacing and at least 2 tennis court resurfacing, and our relations, the school system's relationship with him has been really good. All right, I'll entertain a motion then to accept the bid. Give me their name, gives Ms. Vaughn the name.
Procore Construction.
Procore Construction, $102,900. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So motion moved by Ms. Fogarty, is there a second? Second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion? Not, if you're for the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? I think I'm gonna fit you in here, Ms. Norris.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the daycare a little bit more.
Okay.
And I assume all we're looking for today is some kind of motion for y'all to continue on with the plans, correct?
Well, that's what I thought was.
Okay.
I mean, I can answer any questions if there's things that I can answer.
Just, why don't you just give so we'll have something in the minutes, a general outline of what we're planning on.
Okay, so from the presentation, the other day, the tentative daycare proposed at the CSS building, of course, that's dependent on a couple things. We did send out a new registration application just to get more specific numbers. Some teachers have sent back some questions. They can't really be answered right now because it's going to depend on whether or not it's, actually voted on and becomes something, because that would go to the next level of hiring people. And, they have questions like, well, which age groups and who's gonna run it, the things that we just can't answer yet. So, I mean, I think at this point in the planning, there's a need, there's a lot of interest. It just depends on whether or not we're looking at moving forward for this fall or waiting.
Did you feel when they responded this time, what would be the percentage of people that had those kind of questions?
I haven't had a lot of questions yet. The pickup, what I put on there was when we come back from break, we would pick those up to get more specific numbers. So, I mean, questions, the last time I looked, are very specific because I know one person was saying, it's their child. They want to know who's going to be doing it. And I don't blame them. So I don't know percentages yet about that.
But the deadline for them to actually like commit and pay their registration is moved out just a little bit because of spring
It was
break.
going to be Wednesday, and then because of all the changes on the application, it says when we return from break. So,
And we may have to adjust that if we're out a little bit longer, then we may say we're going to need that back from you.
yeah.
Right. I would just say if it's possible is to keep us informed, just even through email as far as what numbers you get. And then understanding that, like Gigi said, there will have to be some definite time period, because otherwise you would not have time to appropriately prepare.
Right.
So I think if you can try your best just to work back from whatever that date is,
Okay.
and then that date be able to give us some real nice firm, like, we have 100 people and this is what it's gonna look like, because if we have to do something else on our side, we don't wanna slow it down for you.
And I think from some of the questions that are coming in, I don't know that some of them will commit unless they know some of these answers. So it's kind of like I'm trying to guide them, but
Catch-22.
Right.
right. Because I can make a handbook and come up, I mean, a lot of that's already done, but to tell them exactly the breakdown of the ages, well, that's based on how many kids we have.
Right.
Or multi-age, or, so, and I understand their concerns, so I think that's going to skew numbers a little bit unless they know some of that information. And is this really going to happen? Because they don't want to say, yes, I want to do this, say I'm not going to pay summer daycare fees, and then, well, we didn't get enough back, we're not going to do it. So they're kind of in a holding pattern. And I see both sides of it, because I'm saying, well, we need to know who's committed to move forward, but then they don't want to commit if something's not going to happen. So I don't know, it's kind of...
At some point, we would have to have a subsequent motion and passing of expenditures to remodel the temporary building out behind Old West, if that's where we end up going with alternative school. But right now, if we had a motion to direct staff to continue to plan with the goal of opening up a daycare in the 2021 school year, would that not help you and also give notice to the community of our intent?
Yes, and I've tried to give notice of our intent several, as much as I can, just, I still feel like there's going to be that group that says, until they get those specific answers, they're scared to commit.
And maybe we're gonna have to really hone in on the fact that we're trying to answer a need. So for those who this is their greatest need, we will have to understand that their commitment will speak volumes, right? So it might not be the initial number we had thought, but it doesn't mean that there's still not a high need and that we don't still need to do it.
Right.
So, I know what you're saying. I know there's a hesitation, but if you really don't have childcare for your little baby, I think you're going to say, here's my $50.
I think so. I know some of them that don't have, they're like, I don't have anything, this is what I do.
Right.
I think the questions coming from some who would be giving up one slot,
Right.
and then if something falls through, they can't get back in.
And I understand that.
Yeah,
But
and then a couple have come in where they're expecting, and they're wanting definite answers on if I'm expecting, then can I get in, like I had one lady, she's having twins, and I'm like, well, that's gonna depend on numbers.
Right.
So do you want me to add something on to what we've already sent out to say, whatever's decided tonight, and then also just please keep in mind, these numbers will determine what we can do.
Right.
We've already said that, but say that again, and I also, they've been told too, if you give us your number and something changes, your plans change, whatever, you would get that money back.
And I think that if I'm understanding that for some of them, I guess they're wondering like, who are gonna be the teachers? Who's
Yes.
going to be taking care? And I think if we could address that in the way that you, because you're the one that's really, communicating with them, but that we address that we are as committed to staffing this at the same quality that we staff our other positions, that should give them some peace of mind, that,
Yeah.
I mean,
We added a statement where they were replying, talking about, of course, we're gonna meet state standards and we're gonna provide quality care. I still think though there's that, some think I'm gonna be watching the babies. I'm like, well, I would love that. It's not me.
It's not gonna be me, right.
I think there's just that little, give me some reassurance, so I can definitely add something, but, and some are like, is this really gonna happen or not? So I've tried to say.
so I think to Pat's point, that we need to say something that says that is our intent.
Well, because the funding that you asked for to me was nothing so substantial that it would be something that, the other part is none of the stuff she's going to purchase would expire. So it's not like she's going to run out and buy some bananas and we're going to worry about them, So I mean, I feel like if you were to feel like you had a budget and that, we approved that, then there shows a large commitment on our part. And, I think
And you could even begin like staffing like the director,
I
and
think
then
that's a
see,
big question.
right, and then see how many actual teachers you need, but you're going to need a director.
I'm looking at the document right now just to see if any other questions have been added.
And I understand the want, April, for parents to really, want to cross all the boxes
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
But I think that we're in such a preliminary stage that we have expressed our commitment to it, and that it's going to take a leap of faith on everybody's part.
Right.
Really to just, say, well, we haven't done this before.
Right.
But we know that there's a need, and I would think that the people who are in the greatest need will say, I want to do this.
And, that may be what it comes down to. Is it somebody that they don't have anybody? Or is somebody's, well, I might stick with who I've got, but the
Right.
need, we do have people who don't have anybody.
Exactly.
Right.
I'll add something on this
Let
tonight.
me read what I've got down so far.
Okay.
And I'm looking for feedback, not just from you four, but also from Mr. Hargrove and Ms. Norris. I've been a motion, that the school board endorses a daycare facility for children of staff and employees for the 2021 school year, and direct administration to continue to plan for the same, including hiring a director.
Sounds good to me.
Sound good to y'all?
Yeah.
I have a question for you. When you were visiting the various places you went, did you talk about the whole setup of requiring a deposit? Did they share how they did that, and whether, is it a non-refundable deposit generally?
I think once we are established, like, let's say that people now pay money and something changes, we said that would be refundable.
Right.
Once we're up and running, if somebody comes in and says, oh, I wanna enroll Sally in this daycare, a week later they change their mind, I don't think they refund.
Correct.
those
Right.
kinds of
Yeah,
things.
right. That's what I was thinking, was like, as this startup thing,
Yes.
we can say, this
Yeah.
year for the 2021 school year,
Right.
we would like to get the head count, we need a deposit, but it is refundable
If we don't have.
for this time period only.
And we
Yes.
put in there, Diane and I were kind of adding stuff as we, you know, sometimes when you start getting questions, it may, okay, we want to look
Right.
at. So we did add on there, after we look at things, as we are able to make more decisions, there would be a short window of time if you look at it and go, that is not right from what I thought.
Right.
But once that window closes,
Right.
Correct,
you
that's
don't
it.
get it.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wisest.
And that, I think that sounds good, Pat.
Yeah, I like
All
that.
right,
I'll make a motion.
You'll be reading that again?
That was fabulous, thank you.
Marlene, she's got that. Let's say we'll endorse the concept for a daycare for children of staff and employees for the 2021 school year, and direct administration to continue to plan for the same, including hiring a director.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Fogarty,
Second.
second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion? This may be,
I think we're always jumping on that one.
I know.
this may be the
No, no, second.
the best thing we've come up with in a while to attract teachers. Any further discussion? Pardon me, I'm
I
sorry.
think we'll be,
If you're for the motion, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? Thank each and every one of you, and thank you, Ms. Norris.
I know. Thank you so much.
And you're free to go run down the number of this attendance.
thank y'all.
Thank you.
Now, Pat, you had something you wanted to add. Are you going to add it now? That's what you were talking about.
It's a good thing.
Already done it. No, I'm sorry.
No, you haven't.
Study session.
Yeah.
And that was going to be 4 after
Yes.
3 on new business. Let's go
Oh,
trustees
okay.
for non-certified. Is that Ms. Vaughn or Mr. Hargrove?
The
Okay.
non-certified
Trustees for non-certified retirement.
First up, Bert. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, this is an annual renewal item that we have to approve. Typically, are those 3 positions that you see there in the agenda items.
Read them out.
The chairman, superintendent, and the director of business. Do we need action item on that, Allison?
Yeah.
Make the motion that we accept the recommendation as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Fogarty, second by Ms. Robinson. Any further discussion? For the motion, for the trustees of non-certified retirement, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Civil Rights Coordinator, Mr. Ray, can you read that?
No, I've got that one.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to deny it.
No, that's okay. Hey, I have to work with him tomorrow. Our HR specialist, Ms. Matlock, is appointed to serve as our civil rights coordinator. The coordinator of civil rights is appointed by the board to serve as a liaison for parents, students, employees, and school system. The coordinator serves as a Title VI, 1964, and that was a vintage year, I understand.
Sure it was.
I turned 56 this year, okay. Title IX and Section 504 of the Federal Non-Discrimination Statute. This will assist in determining make sure our school system does not discriminate against any individual on the basis of sex, race, national origin, creed, age, marital status, or disability in its educational programming, activities, or employment.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Fogarty. Is there any?
I second it.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further discussion? If not, if you for Ms. Matlock, Civil Rights Coordinator, please raise your hand. Any opposed? School bus purchase authorization, I believe we're back to Mr. Ray.
I was aware of this one. We have 2 buses in our fleet that will mileage out very soon and be part due to state regulations.
So they're retiring.
They will be retiring, yes. There will be no party. We have known that this was coming. Unfortunately, what we did not know was that the lengthy turnaround time from the time of ordering to delivery could be as much as 200 days. We do have the option to piggyback off of another school system's specs, RFP, invitation to bid, and bid pricing that will meet both the state requirements and TCS purchasing requirements. Even though you all are hopefully going to take action tonight, those will still be budgeted in next year, the 2021 year, and paid for upon delivery. So we're recommending.
And they were scheduled to be in that budget. Am I correct?
Sorry.
They were already scheduled to be in that
They are,
budget.
sir. Yes. We're recommending purchasing 2 year 2020 78 passenger conventional buses from Mid-South Bus Center at a price of $85,422 apiece for a total of $170,844 to replace the 2 soon-to-be retiring buses.
And these did include air conditioning.
Air conditioning is included.
Correct.
There's even
So we have here
phones.
already a motion.
So moved.
So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion on the school bus purchase? If not, if you're for the motion, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? Now is the study session. We've talked about changing the study session to keep it on the first Tuesday at 1:30. Is there any more discussion on that?
Sid, will you be okay? Okay.
There may be a few I have to miss, but
Tuesdays in the afternoon.
Just for study session, correct?
1:30.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Starting when? I'm sorry.
Starting on the first of,
If,
some of this we're
Right.
in
That's
a
fine.
kind of a fluid situation.
Right.
If we're back to normal, it would be.
and you said 1:30, is that what time you said, Pat?
Yes.
My only request is that we go to 1 o'clock because I will have to always pick up children at 3 o'clock. So that would be very challenging because some of our study sessions have gone over.
Right.
So unless someone else has something.
The only thing I said about 1:30 was Wednesdays. That's all.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
I'm
I
fine.
didn't read your email and. it's-
Yeah.
Right.
So none of you
So
did read
1
it.
o'clock is okay?
1 o'clock is fine.
Yeah, so please don't do it on Wednesday.
And you're, and which Tuesday, the first?
Well,
Is
we'll
it
see. but-
all right to change your motion then, Ms. Felby, to 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock, if that's okay with everyone else.
Is that
I'm just
all right?
saying
actually
we-
one is better.
Okay,
Yes.
because it would be much harder for me.
Any
Yeah.
further discussion? If not, if you're for the motion of bringing the study session to Tuesdays, the first Tuesday of the month at 1 o'clock p.m., please respond by raising your hand.
And we think we're starting it on April.
Correct.
wait a minute, Ms. Sandy has a question.
Who seconded the motion?
Mr. Hill.
Okay.
Did?
Anything else?
Okay, no.
All right.
Okay.
Report from Mr. Hargrove.
We have 2 personnel changes.
Just 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that we sprinkle the minutes with commendation from the board on Mr. Hargrove's help,
Absolutely.
attention, and selfless action during the time period since our last meeting. He has been under duress.
Really?
I've talked with him, you may not have to put that in the motion, but I talked with him several times last Friday, and emails were coming in so fast he couldn't read his emails. And he would try to make a decision based on some board input, and before he could make a decision, there'd be another email came up that changed the whole situation. He's trying to work in a very, very fluid environment. Now that we've got that added, Mr. Hargrove,
I am humbled.
you should have been. Keep
Very
going.
very, very humbled. We do have 2 personnel changes. We hired Ms. Sandlin at the high school, and we had a personnel change that was at dismissal at East Lincoln. So I am going to bring this up, and I hope it doesn't open up a can of worms. But as we move forward as a school system, I'm not sure where we're going to land with school dismissal and our ability to have school as we know it. I don't know when that is, and if I said I did, I'd be speculating. I hope it's April 1st.
Right.
But we need to be mindful of that as we plan going forward, and the speed and the way we do things may change a little bit. And
there's also most indications, I don't know if many people have been looking at the national news with regard to schools, like I would assume everyone on this board has, but that's been a big part of my focus is really looking at CDC information, looking at our National School Digest. And I think it would be a little remiss for us not to caution our community about the idea that the reality that we face is one that we're not certain of, but the concept that a 3-week closure is all we're like looking at, it's not as likely as one would hope. You know,
We're planning for more.
yeah.
And if worse comes to worse, I mean, we'll have a plan in place. That plan is, began a couple of weeks ago and was more defined last Friday, and we have another meeting, short meeting in the morning. And
I had a meeting Friday that lasted forever with all kinds of what-if scenarios, and if he has a meeting tomorrow, we're in a whole nother chapter.
Right.
It's just-
but I'll do my very best to keep y'all informed, and I appreciate your support.
We're meeting daily at Mount, so, like you said, that's really a minimum.
Is that
Ultimately, that's what we need to be mindful of.
I
Yes.
spoke to someone and when I said, I have read, you know, pretty extensively on it. And I said there was a CDC recommendation that nothing short of 8 weeks and could be as long as 20, you know. And I just don't know that everyone has had that particular focus. I mean, because they have other things they're concerned with right now, and that's understandable. But, you know, I think when you start looking at some of those articles and kind of try to process that on this side for what that would look like, it's challenging to say the least.
We're feeding our kids, we're feeding our students. We've applied for the ability to feed them over our break, which we traditionally aren't supposed to do.
Right.
But we're asking that. Angela's group's on it, had a pretty good first day, make some adjustments, be back at it. I commend them and her team, out taking care of our young learners. So we'll keep you all in the loop, and if you get an email, and you get a conflicting email, 30 minutes, that's how fluid the situation is. So,
Because of that, I would like to say something. I'd like to look right at that camera and say, people need to be patient. And I think that we have all gotten emails that were kind of strident and accusatory. We all do have to be patient with each other. And I think it's a little unfair for us to be blamed or to be treated in a very sarcastic manner when we are trying to do the best we are trying to do in the fluid moment. It is very difficult. So to criticize us at this time, I think, is very uncalled for. And I just wanted to say that.
And I think it would be wise for us too to have a statement from our board to say to our parents and to students that this is not just an extended vacation, but that we are very serious about the social distancing, and that we want you to take that seriously, and that's why you're out of school. If you could be with your friends, if you could be doing your normal things that you do, then we could be in school. So it's up to us as our community to be serious about this, and we're all going to have to sacrifice. Nobody's going to like it, but it could make a tremendous difference in the outcome of the longevity of this and the how serious it is.
Yeah, I think it would be really disservice to anybody who has to be on the front lines of this to remotely describe as what we're doing as any sort of extended vacation.
Right.
To think that those words would come out is
And I
that's
have heard
sobering.
that.
Yeah, well, that's pretty sobering, because I would suspect that no one on this board and no one that's really got students at their heart would ever think that that's remotely what we're about to engage in right now.
Right. I haven't seen any board member or any staff member or anybody connected with our system that does not place the students first and is not open to having to change the plan. And that, I would say that when I talked to Mr. Hargrove really early this morning, I would like to have had extracurricular events continue on for at least a period. But by the middle of the day, I understood that that's going to be impossible. And when those decisions were made, a whole lot of students had athletic careers interrupted and all kinds of school life interrupted. And my heart goes out to them. We've got, the first thing we've got to do is safety for not just ourselves, but for others around us. And I think.
And it is a very unselfish thing for us as citizens to take that upon ourselves to be serious about this and to stay in and not be out doing things. That's what we need to be doing.
And some of these decisions are beyond us.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what,
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at the camera. But we have to be mindful of that, that some of these decisions are beyond us.
Right, exactly.
Or-
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Anything
you.
else? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you all.